Welcome back, Bottle Killers. Another episode of Bottle Kill TV. As always, it's your host, Michael Roche. And we have with us, unsurprisingly, the often imitated, never duplicated, is the real Bottle Killer, ladies and gentlemen. How the hell are you?
Doing good, man. Ready for this one. This is a fresh whiskey, straight hot off the press. Really good one. Cannot wait to dive in and share this with you all at home tuning in right now.
Oh, you're fired up today.
Fired up.
So as always, our new feature, if you just want to get the high-level tasting notes, the high-level review, skip to the end of the video, it'll be chopped it out. You'll be able to see the quick 2-minute review at the end, which we will provide you with. If not, you're here for the long haul. You're here You're here for the jibber jabber. The jibber jabber. So the first thing I want to, if you're still here for the jibber jabber, I want to say to you, please like and subscribe. We always forget to say this. My sister always says, tell people to like and subscribe.
And comments as well. We love the comments. We had some really good comments from Australian fans recently. We really appreciate it. So do drop us a comment, like, subscribe, get involved.
Was that the if you ordered Kurt Cobain from Wish comment? No, we don't even get many comments, so we want to see more comments. So and no Kurt Cobain from Wish jokes. I've already done it now. It's like an 8 Mile. You do the joke first, right? So let's get on, because this is one that is a difficult whiskey to procure. We have 3 of them behind us, which is kind of goes counter to that.
Guilty.
But this is a whiskey that sells out instantly when it comes available. So if you do stay in stockists over the next couple of weeks, grab it instantly. And that is the Meikle Toir Turbo. So tell us a little bit more about what put this on your radar, because we actually went to GlenAllachie last year, and you knew all about this already, and they kind of told us, they kind of increased the tension of how difficult this is to come by.
Yeah,
it was and how successful a release it was.
It was one of my biggest whiskey fails, if I'm completely honest. So Meikle Toir was released last year, 2023.
And just tell, what is Meikle Toir, just in case people don't know?
Oh, I don't know what it means, actually. It probably says on the box.
But it's the peated version.
Meikle Toir, yeah. So Meikle Toir is a peated whiskey from GlenAllachie. So it's kind of like a sub-brand of the distillery created by the genius that is Billy Walker.
Great guy.
But they released it last year. Really good stuff, like age statement, 5 years old. They did 4 different bottles. So I think there was an original sherry cask, Shinkopin, which is a virgin oak cask, and the turbo. So when it was released, I get an email. I'm subscribed to every bloody whiskey online shop that exists. Get an email. I'm like, 5-year-old peated whiskey from Speyside. Not quite sure. It sells out. And I'm like, oh, people are raving about this whiskey. I can't believe I've missed it. Can't get one. We're going on a tour to Speyside Highlands, and we're actually going to GlenAllachie Distillery. Amazing tasting. We'll talk more about that with Swanky Steve. And I was like, can I get a bottle at the distillery? They didn't even have any bottles to sell, but they did have a bottle that we could taste. So we tried it there, and it was like, oh my God, it's so good. It's incredible. So I get an Instagram post from one of my friends, the Whiskey Scoop. Shout out to Jordan. It's just been released last Wednesday. Every day I'm like, where is it? When's it coming out? When can I buy this stuff? Scouring the internet. And I went to sleep on Tuesday, the week after, and it had come into Masters of Malt and sold out when I woke up in the morning. I was like, oh, I've missed the boat again. I'm going to be depressed, gutted. And then I think it was Regal Whiskey. They had it in. Again, I was 4 bottles in stock. I knew you'd want one, so I picked one up for Michael. He'll have it, and then I've got one, and then the other one, who knows what we're going to do with it. Maybe take it on the tour. I don't know. Maybe we'll sell it to the collectors.
Yeah, that's price gouge. That's price gouge or 211 subs.
Well, I think the 2023 I saw going for $450 on an auction the other day.
It's insane.
Crazy.
Some of them is absolutely insane. The prices of the turbo, which is only the turbo is a 5-year-old whiskey.
Because we tried to get the 2023 on an auction, didn't we? After, because it was that good, we chased it. We chased it.
We did, and in typical fashion, while we were in the distillery, remember Dave was trying to find it online, and everywhere is 180, 200, 250, and then it's only gone up since then. But tell me firstly, GlenAllachie Distillery, who make this, under the brand Meikle Toir. You know, this is one of the ones where we had one of our maybe in our top 2 experiences at a distillery.
So good.
And you know,
Yeah.
we're big fans of if you have a great experience at a distillery,
Yeah.
you automatically like that brand more, you like that whiskey more, and we could not have had a better time with Swanky Steve. Tell us about Swanky Steve.
Oh, it was
Shout out to Swanky Steve.
Shout out to Swanky Steve. Yeah, thank you for hosting us. It was one of the best tastings that I think I've ever done.
It's like top 2 or 3.
He got so involved. So you've got 5 lads on a whiskey tour. I think it was the second distillery that we'd been to of the day, or was it even the first? I don't know. Like, we've been out the day before, so we're kind of in the zone. And you get this guy who's like, you know, sometimes you go to the distilleries and you've got these like stuffy like waistcoat, like, you know, tweed jackets, like, oh, you need to try this whiskey, pal. And Steve was just like,
What's wrong with a tweed jacket?
No, I like a tweed jacket. It's okay.
Bit of tweed.
It's just like, it's a bit Paul, isn't it?
It's my day off.
We said we wouldn't talk about Paul. Sorry. But like, so welcoming. And he just got absolutely involved. Like, he's drinking with us as we're doing the tasting, took us through 5 beautiful single cask whiskies, like talked us through them, like just made like the banter was just incredible. And then so we get to the end of the tasting, and then we've made him like get us the turbo, give us a little taste. Like, we already think he's a legend. So we get back in a car to go to the next distillery, and he literally runs out. If you work at GlenAllachie, please shut your ears or turn off the camera now. And he like runs out and he's like sticking his fingers up.
Well,
he's
well,
like,
yeah,
I'm going to quit. I'm with you boys.
What happened is he obviously had to clean up the tasting, you know, for the next people.
Yeah.
And we didn't get a chance to say goodbye.
Yeah.
As he was. So he like legged it. As our car was like pulling out, he like legged it to make sure he could say goodbye, and just did it.
Tried to like jump in the van, like
quality way.
come with us. I think if he could have quit his job, he would have.
Just a classic, you know, if you go to Scotland on tour, you just want to meet classic salt of the earth, like hearty Scotchman.
Just amazing.
And
just an absolute legend.
that Steve is. So shout out to Steve. And so let's get into this.
The whiskey, yeah.
Have you opened this? Have you tried this before? I think you tried it last night, right?
Yeah, I can't really remember that.
Oh,
Yesterday was kind of a
straight
big
away.
day. So Friday was Mrs. Bottle Killer's birthday. And then Friday kind of like rolled into Saturday. And then I was like drinking, and I was up here, like, I just kept finding like bottles of whiskey like dotted about the house. I was like, I don't remember drinking that last night. But stupidly, I opened this one. It must have been about 2 a.m. And then I woke up this morning and it was like next to my bed.
Well, the good thing about whiskey rather than beer is if you ever do pull a accidental dram out and you get sometimes, you know, like the line, like your eyes are bigger than your belly. If that ever happens, you can just leave it in the glass. Put a little bit of paper over it. And,
it didn't go to waste.
And it'll last, you know.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, well, tell me what on the nose. What did you get? So obviously you made this maybe the first time you remember this whiskey. What do you? And do you remember the 2023 version?
No,
I don't really remember too much.
Come on,
Been too much going on since then.
I just remember like loving it, and
yeah, I remember
wanting, like
blown away,
loving it so much that like, you know, we talk about whiskies that excite you, and that's what we try and bring to all you that are watching. Like, we want people to get as excited as we do about whiskey, and this is one that definitely excited us so much that like I tried to hunt like the 2023 down, couldn't get it. When this came out, I was like, I have to get it. But yeah, the nose, it is, you've got like, and I think sherry and peat is a really, really good combination, and you do have a strong sherry presence. You've got very Christmas cakey kind of vibes coming through on the nose
straight away.
Those dark black cherries, raisins, soaked in brandy. It's like when you get the Christmas pudding out and you pour the brandy on it and set it on fire, because it's got the peat as well, like the smoke coming through, and you do get that kind of smoke. It's peated to 70 ppm, by the way. I haven't told you too much about the whiskey. It's 50% ABV. And it's a mixture of virgin oak casks, I think 5 virgin oak casks and Oloroso sherry casks.
So it's a little bit like the Lochlear, the way it's got 5 different casks. Right?
Yeah. So it's like a vatting of different casks from the GlenAllachie, peated to 70 ppm, which is quite a high ppm. It's higher actually than a Lafroig, which comes in about 50. So, you know, we should be getting like a pretty good hit of peat off this, but it's got those sherry, fruity, sweet, raisiny, peat smoke in the background, barbecued meats, campfire embers, and it's such a different style to the Isla peat, isn't it?
So straight away, what we had is we just reviewed the Lindor's 6-year-old. So this is 5 years old. Lindor's is 6-year-old, so it's very comparable in terms of age. One is a bourbon cask. This is a sherry cask. So what you get is you get two totally different sweetnesses.
Yeah.
So the Lindor's is more of that like candy sweetness.
Yeah.
This is more of that richness.
Yeah.
That richer sweet that you get from a Christmas cake, that you
Like
get from
a
a fruit
really
cake.
good dessert after you've
Yeah.
had a big meal like that. You just like treacly, sugary,
Yeah,
chocolatey.
yeah. The treacle,
the-
treacly is a really good description of it. It's like, you know, if you are in a restaurant, this is like
Yeah.
a dessert in a restaurant. Yeah.
It's the one that puts you in like a food coma. It's like you just get it and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, well, it's what people are searching for sometimes when they have a sherry or a port after a
Yeah.
meal, right? This is kind of sherry cask, but this is what it gives me that thought
it's
process
just-
straight away.
It's complex as well. It's like it's got that sweetness, but also again, like you know when they put like the rind in the Christmas pudding, like the peels of the oranges, it's got that marmalade kind of bitterness to it as well
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
just
Yeah,
gives it
yeah,
the
yeah.
edge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now I'm being portaled back to GlenAllachie Distillery, and we're in the bar, and I remember why we were so blown away that this was only 5 years old, right? Because we'd heard rumors about the turbo. You've been talking up the turbo, and then Steve actually poured us a turbo, and we actually got to try it. And now I'm being teleported back. Like this can't be 5, because we always do like the advanced tastings or
Yeah.
like the premium tastings in distilleries. So we may have tried like 18-year-olds,
Yeah,
17-year-olds, 21-year-olds, maybe even the 23-year-old, but then we go back to a 5-year-old, and it's still doing its thing.
That's what I love, and that's what I think like where the whiskey industry is really breaking down barriers at the moment is that like I love it when a distillery is not afraid of putting a 5-year-old age statement on the bottle, a 7-year-old age statement, you know? Like people have misconstrued. Like yeah, like don't get me wrong, aged whiskies are fantastic and you do get that difference, you get more balance, you get more roundedness. But people shouldn't be ashamed of saying this whiskey is 5 years old if it's great, which this absolutely is. The Lindor's that we just tried, 6 years old, very exciting. Yeah, it's still got a little bit of a way to go, which the casks will do as it matures. But like even Wee Beastie, I wouldn't say it's a great whiskey, but I was very impressed when at Ardbeg, given how much criticism they get for no age statements, committee releases, you know, £150 a bottle, and Wee Beastie, for its price, to put an age statement on it, I think it's banging.
It's a wee little beast.
It's an absolute beast.
But this is what I think the Cotswolds distillery could be. This reminds me very much of the Cotswolds signature, but just elevated.
Yeah.
And I think Cotswolds is 3 years old. This is 5 years old, so not a huge jump. Well, I guess it's still actually almost double the age when you think about it. But
It is,
it's
and-
this tastes way more premium.
It is, and
Than it should be.
You know, Billy Walker's like an industry legend. He's got so much experience with casks, with distilleries. You know, he was with Glendronach, Ben Riach, loads of and the sherry influence. But to be experimenting with the peat as well, like it's innovation, and it's and it works, doesn't it?
It's just so rich. It's
Yeah.
just so rich. It's
So rich.
It's got the thickness. You know, we talked about the you could tell the youth of the Lindors because it was a little thin. In a way that worked, but this has got this like thickness that
Yeah.
it shouldn't have. It
Yeah.
hasn't warranted it. Yeah, almost.
No,
But-
for a
but it
5-year-old
has.
whiskey to have this, you know, like
Yeah.
I say, it's coming in at 50%. So maybe that gives it a bit more of the body. It's not been diluted down, but it's so rich, isn't it? And the flavors just like when it hits your tongue, it's like pop, 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 flavor after flavor, chocolate, raisins, spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, just everything that you would expect. And that smoke just kind of like, it builds. Like the smoke, I'm feeling it now, still in the finish.
It's a bit like a cigar, isn't it?
Yeah, it
The
just
way it
kind of
builds.
like, yeah, tobacco, leather, campfire embers, like smouldering barbecue just coming through, like lovely right on the tongue, like right at the end.
This is really interesting because this whiskey for me is not necessarily capturing memories on its own, but it's making me remember whiskies. So one of them is the Tomatin
Yeah.
that release that I got, which was, you know, anything from a 8-year-old to a 4-year-old whiskey in that. The dryingness.
Yeah,
It's
it
got
does
the-
have a little bit. Yeah,
It's
does,
got
yeah.
the cigar malt of the Dalmore cigar malt. It's giving
Yeah.
me that like cigar
Oh,
note
yeah. Yeah,
on it
yeah.
as well. So it's all these different whiskies that it's giving me little hints to, little nods to as it develops.
And that's what I think a great whiskey takes you to places in your mind and your memories. Like it takes you, you go, this reminds me of that flavor, reminds me of this.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what this does. It's so good.
This is fantastic. And again, it just how
And do you know what?
how
Do you
can
know
it
what
be
we
5
haven't
years
said?
old?
60 quid. 60 quid a bottle.
Well, yeah.
And also, another thing, 2,200 bottles. So when you put that in perspective, if you think about how difficult it is to get hold of Springbank, you got a Springbank 12-year-old cask strength recently, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's about 6,000 bottles.
Okay.
Almost impossible to get hold of. So we got an update from our whiskey group, and Mike lives over the road from Timaeus, the whiskey shop by the Puffin Rooms, and it was like instant, go in, get it, done. Like I've not had a Springbank 12-year-old cask strength for about 4 years.
It was like 10:30 in the morning. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
on a
just
Monday.
wipe all the paper off the desk
Monday.
and
People
walk out. And,
People had like left work.
Good.
They were like, Springbank's in Liverpool. Fuck my job. I'm going to get Springbank. But that's it.
This is so
Like so this is almost like a third more rare than a Springbank 12-year-old cask strength. So but £60 as well. It's incredible.
So now what we have to do is put it in perspective, which is, are we so impressed and so high on this because it's a 5-year-old and it blows away your expectation, or is it just that good? Is it the contrast which makes us so high on it, or is it actually it's the best 5-year-old going?
I think there's two elements to that. I think that buzz, scarcity, popularity definitely drives your desire to get a whiskey like this.
You definitely,
And
if you get a rare whiskey,
Oh.
you definitely want to love it, don't you?
So-
and that definitely does play into it for sure.
Because I remembered how good the 2023 Turbo was. I literally, when I heard this had just been released, I spent probably about 4 or 5 days trying to find it, like checking my emails, the update, you know, new releases, when is it coming, and just purely by luck, chance, found it. So there is that kind of like FOMO. I need it, I want it, and that plays a big part. However, I would say, like, judging it purely on the taste and the flavor, there's a reason why it's got that popularity, because it is bloody good.
Yeah, because they've kind of gone from a standing start really with the Meikle Toir, right? It's not been
Yeah.
something that was last year their first releases.
First release, and also
Yeah,
like
so it kind of got its attention off the weight of its greatness.
and relatively rare for Space Iders. Balvenie do a week of peat where they use peated barley for 1 week of the year, and they've got a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old. Really good, really nice whiskies. But I don't even think they're on this level, and I think it is the sherry as well that adds the richness. And obviously you've got an industry legend like Billy Walker, who knows how to distill a spirit and knows how to, you know, what casks to pick and what are going to give it like the good flavors. Very expert when it comes to sherry. But the Shinkapin one, I've got it down there, for example. It's lovely, but it doesn't have the exclusivity vibe that the Turbo does.
This is phenomenal. This truly is, and what you're watching right now is just trying to figure it in my mind. How do you convey this? Because this is this you would not know if we did blind tastings. You know, like there's always a joke, like, you know, you give these wine tasters loads of wines and you slip in one from Aldi, and the Aldi one wins the taste test.
Yeah.
And this one would do the same damage on a you could get some
I think
Glendronachs.
yeah, exactly.
You could get some big sherry wines. this is going to confuse people. It's that good.
It is.
It's that good.
Lovely, like cocoa powder in the finish, little chocolate, but that smoke as well, and it just lingers. Like,
Well, like it's
the
complex.
finish just goes on. I've just added a couple of drops of water as well. I don't think it needs it, but I just wanted to experiment.
I
Give it a little.
don't want to ruin what's
give it a little-
perfect. But
little-
obviously, we'd maybe do that with the rest of the bottles we have. But what a wonderful dram. That could be. I think I said this the last episode, or the episode before last. This could be whiskey of the year.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this after you mentioned it on the Lefroy episode. We're about midway through the year now, and we did an episode a while back. It's probably the worst quality episode that we've actually released. But we did our top 3 whiskies of 2023, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I've got in my mind Glen Scotia 25, Brooklad 18, this, and Lefroy 18. And I'm like, but I've got another 6 months. So what else am I going to taste that can knock the king off the hill?
What I would say is what I put number 1 for 2023. It would still win in 2024 so far.
What was your number 1? The Enigma?
You have to watch it to find out. Go click back.
I can't actually remember.
But it's but yeah, I just this is one of the most enjoyable experiences. And what day are we on in July? Was it the 20th of July today?
20th?
20th?
No. 21st?
21st,
yeah.
21st July today, 2024. And we started the first 6 months, 6.5 months, just being like really selling this narrative of bourbon cask, classic whiskey. The last few weeks, some of the ones that we've tried, we had the Deanston sherry cask.
The Fino Deanston was incredible.
We had the Lefroy festival release.
Yeah.
And then we just had this, and wow, I think actually I'm veering towards more sweeter sherried.
But I think as well, there's such thing as like too much of a good thing, and my whiskey journey has kind of done that. So when I really got into whiskey, I went down the classic, what a lot of people do, you know, the darker the better, the more sherry, the PXs, the Olorosos, Glendronach, loved it. GlenAllachie also do a 10-year-old cask strength, a really good whiskey. Definitely needs some water, but like, you know, it's all sherry cask influence. You don't really feel the character of the spirit come through because it is just like so sherried. And I really went off it and like you say, went back to the classic bourbon casks, which I love, like I'll never not love. But I think because I've been consistently drinking bourbon casks, my palate is ready for something different again. Like I got a Loch Lomond yesterday, which was a Riva Saltes or something, like a French wine, similar to the Banyuls Deanston that you got.
Yeah. So that's sweetness.
And I'm not a big fan of wine casks, red wine casks. Loved it. Beautiful. Quite strong, the drying. And I was just like, I think it was
Banyuls is very sweet. I think
Yeah.
that's why I like the Banyuls so much. I think I've really come in as my sweet phase, my sweet whiskey phase. Maybe it's the same for you if it's similar to a Banyuls. Is the sweetness that you're really picking up and really enjoying.
hankering for.
Going
for it. So what I think we do is I reckon we take this one out.
So
buy
we'll,
or not a buy, and then we'll do our
we'll
2-minute review. And I think we need a little top up, don't we?
Well, yeah. Well, if you want to know, is it a buy or not a buy?
You should already know.
The
by
question.
now.
The question is it a buy or not a buy? It's a can you buy?
Is,
you know,
yeah,
it just is a can you buy? If you buy it, go buy it. So if you see anything on Twitter and they say, well, you know, Nichols and Parks or whatever have some stock, just literally that minute go and buy it because it's that good. This is one to really experience. Absolute buy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think for people, by the time that we publish this, people that will be tuning in, it probably will already be gone unless you live in Scotland and you can physically go to a shop that by chance still has it on the shelves. However, what I would say is that the retail of this is £60. The auction market is dropping a little bit. You are going to pay a premium. You're going to pay a little bit of commission. But if you see this for like £80-90, I'd still say it's worth it because 2,200 bottles, you're not going to be able to really get hold of it. There'll be another release next year, so hopefully this puts your fingers on the trigger and you can catch a bottle next year. But if not, I wouldn't pay over 100 quid for it. That's too much for a 5-year-old whiskey. But if you really want to try it, you really want something special, 80 to 90 on the auctions, I'd say is about where you should cut it.
Yeah, and we have a third bottle. So if you ever want to visit
Yeah,
Bottle
in the
Kill
comments.
Towers, Bottle Kill Towers, then come join us. We'll happily open.
Oh yeah,
and
we'll
share
share
it
it with
guys.
you. Yeah, do an episode. We've got a chair over there. There's always room for a third person.
The cook chair.
Sounds weird. And he's not wearing shoes. Have you seen this? Like, I don't know what's going on.
All right, I think we're done. I think it's time to take
It's
this
like,
one out, Bottle Killer.
Don't reference my feet.
Take him out.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us. I hope you had as good time as we did drinking this beautiful whiskey. I've had a good time. I hope you've had a good time. Michael, have you had a good time?
This may be the whiskey of the year so far for me. This is unbelievable. This one.
Bold.
Big,
I think
big.
he's had a good time. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and come back for more on Bottle Kill TV. So, as we always promise you, we're going to give you a very quick review just so you can get the tasting notes, see if this whiskey is for you or not. Michael, why don't you tell us what you think of the Meikle Toir 5-year-old Turbo?
Yeah, I think the whole episode is worth going back and watching because what you'll see is us continually being blown away by what this is. For a 5-year-old whiskey, it punches way above its weight. This could be pound for pound.
It is. It's an absolute classic. It's a monster. Nose to finish, like it's everything you would expect from a very well selected sherry cask. It's got those classic Christmas cake flavors, raisins, lovely little peels as well that give it that kind of bitterness, and it's got that beautiful kind of campfire smoke coming through. And then on the palate, it's rich. It's like a date, you know, like a really caramelized, treacly. The texture of the whiskey is incredible. And then into the finish, you've got this beautiful kind of cocoa powder that comes through, but still like the little kind of smoke that just like hits your tongue and it lingers for a long time. It's an absolutely incredible whiskey. If you can find it, I'd highly recommend that you buy a bottle. If not, keep your eyes peeled for the next release.
Absolutely. That's the only question. It's not, is it a buy? Is it not a buy? It's, can you buy it? Can you find it? If you can find it, buy it. You will not be disappointed. Maybe the best 5-year-old that's ever been made.
I couldn't disagree with that. Slancha.